And well, here we are. We are back for episode 3. I'm Kieran McKenzie,
And I'm Brian Bates.
and welcome back to Karate Ramblings. Now, we are trying to be as on topic as we can be because we're trying to get in quick with this because it only just came out in the week. Have any of you seen that letter from the Japanese Karate Association?
Yeah, I'd imagine a few people have, because obviously on our, well, I do a little bit of social media on Facebook and Insta, and that's been a hot topic actually. So I'd say, yeah, some of the people that we know probably, well, most certainly have seen it and talked about it. But it's time for us to talk about it, eh? So,
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
us, the opinions that matter.
so
Yeah.
yeah, it was a letter from the JKA to its members, forbidding them to go to a seminar held by the Japan Traditional Karate Association. Is that right?
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
that's it. That's it. I mean, they sent that out to all their members saying, thank you very much for, being loyal members, good students, being partners all around the globe. The JKA is a pretty big organization. And just like, oh, and this one over here, the JTK, yeah, ignore them. They don't exist. Never train with them. We forbid you. They use the word. They are using really serious words there. Big people words, and just restricting. You know, grown adults what they can actually do and what they can't do.
Yeah, and this is what got me about it. I mean, most people who practice karate are hobbyists, and it's something they do in their spare time, and they're paying for this service, and to be told that you can't go and like you say, as a grown adult and do something in your time, what you want to do, what you're paying for, just didn't sit well with me at all. To see that letter.
Mm.
Also, since that letter, I don't know if there was another one, or I've heard that there was another one saying that if they did attend, they would be stripped of their grades. Not kicked out of the JKA and stripped of their grades. I mean,
Oh,
they've earned those grades, So how can they say that?
that
Yeah, I'll have to.
is, yeah, that is absolutely bizarre. I mean, like I said, grown people, you pay for your uniform, you pay for your belt, sometimes you pay for your gradings, in most karate organizations.
Well,
And,
in JK, you pay a lot for your gradings,
yeah,
as you can imagine.
and you pay for the money that you spend for each lesson each month. That goes to hall fees, that goes to any club equipment, that goes in the sensei's pocket, that goes towards your license fees. All these costs are getting covered, and then they have the audacity to turn around and say, yeah, you are not allowed. If you do, you'll be excommunicado. And then I'm imagining there'll be a John Wick sequence of sorts, and they'll be after you like the assassins from the Continental. So
Yeah. Oh, you've
it
just
was
painted a
him.
picture there now, Kieran. You've just painted a picture there. I can imagine it all kicking off now. Like the traditional style, everyone's going to be in Gidimari to start though when they start their fight. But
But
no, it's mental. I just in this day and age, telling people that they can't go and train on an open seminar.
yeah,
I wonder if the boot was on the other foot. Would the J was it Japanese Karate Federation? Would they say you cannot go to the JKA associate their seminar?
I do wonder.
That
I mean,
that'd be interesting. Well, I'm sure now they would. I'm
I mean,
sure now.
probably. I mean, the unfortunate thing is, with these types of organizations, they like having a good degree of power over their students, their members. They like you could it's power, it's insecurity, but it's also trying to keep them to try and keep things on brand. If it's not the
Well,
JK's name on it, it means that the JK is not getting any money off of it. So I don't quite know
this
how
is
the yeah.
what it all comes down to, isn't it? It all comes down to money at the end of the day and power. But it's very much a cult like mentality, isn't it?
Mm.
You belong to this cult. You can't go outside. It's not good.
Yeah, this
Um,
this cult, this cult where we dress up in the same uniform, say us and bow really deeply. This cult where we, show up several times a week. We look at extra materials. We go to different places and learn different things. We spend a good deal of our life doing. You know, that cult. I mean, it's hard to think about us doing that, but
Yeah,
jokes aside, it is the cult mentality where it's when you're in, you're in. You just keep getting yourself deeper and deeper into that, that rabbit hole of the JKA or big organizations, that the more time you spent with them, the harder it is to leave. It's a bit Stockholm syndrome, to be honest.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I know of Karateka. They're not members of JKA, but they're with larger organisations, and it's the type of karate that we do. And I don't really like labeling it as practical or applied karate these days, but it's not so modern traditional as maybe that's how we'd perhaps label it. I don't know, but they want to do more of what we do, but they say, oh, but I
Mm.
can't leave my association. They feel tied in, I suppose, like a marriage that they can't leave, kind of thing. It's
Mm.
that. It is almost like an abusive relationship, I suppose, where
Yeah,
they
no,
just feel, yeah,
I think you've hit the
yeah,
nail on the head right there. It's very much give, 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 and you don't get to take much back. I mean, with any kind of organization, if you, like you said, if there's an instructor that's tied to this big organization, they want to leave, they want to do other things, they want to learn other things, they want to put that into their karate, but they can't leave. I mean, it is very much, the Stockholm syndrome of like you can't go because you almost fear for what you'd be without that label attached to you.
yeah. Well, interesting. I mean, I wasn't a part of a big organisation like the JKA, but the old organisation I belonged to, I kind of did feel that. I did feel if I leave this group, how am I gonna? Who's gonna grade me? How am I gonna survive outside this bubble? And it
Mm,
took a long time have the courage maybe to leave that group, that bubble. And outside, it was all right. It was actually better.
mm,
I found things were pretty cool. Um,
yeah.
but if we can draw up some comparisons, maybe, but I suppose it won't be direct, but because I was thinking about this, knowing we are going to talk about it, but I know of some combat gyms, and I guess this is a different kettle of fish in a way, that don't let their fighters train at other gyms.
Ah, right. Okay. Uh, I can sort of understand that to an extent because with when it comes to fighters, we're not talking martial artists who are there for, the self-improvement. We're talking about fighters who are there to go to win. If, for example, if they're training at one gym where they've got a coach who knows them, who's trying to keep a good eye on them so they can improve and work and then get their skills up to snuff, and he knows where they're not as good, so he can help improve there. Now, if this person goes to another gym, starts training there, and they've got their first, I don't know, their next amateur fight against one of the fighters at that gym, they
Yeah,
they get eyes on them. They've got their coach's eyes on them, like, okay, look at him. He's got a
they
weak
know. Yeah,
cross, but he's got a fast jab kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. Because I know when we trained out of at Ringcraft, so we was in the hall next door, and I remember Liam putting up a post about, I've heard of fighters going to another gym, and he was quite upset about it, But then again, Liam's the boxing gym or any sort of combat sport. I think you invest a lot of time in a fighter, don't you? So it's not the
Mm,
same as these big organisations that
mm,
they're not really investing. Like the head honcho isn't investing all their time in Joe Blogs in an association of faraway country.
mm.
So it is different. But yeah, I think in a combat gym, boxing gym, anything like that, it's the amount of time that individual has invested in their fighter. So
Mm,
I can see why they would discourage going anywhere else.
yeah.
Um, but when we look at what we do, the way we sort of practice our karate, we kind of actively encourage going to other gyms
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
or on other seminars outside of our association. I generally, because we briefly talked about this the other night, I would say once you're above a certain grade, really, because I think if you're going to
Mm,
go and start cross training or anything like that, I think you need to be above a certain level.
Mm.
To go on a seminar, any grade can go on a seminar as far as I'm concerned.
Oh
I
yeah.
think if I was to say to a student, you can't go, it'd be for good reason. If I thought the person teaching there was shite, basically, if
Mm.
it was going to be detrimental to their karate, that would be
Mm.
why I would say you can't go. Well, I would never say
Yeah.
you can't. I would advise them not to. But at the end of the day, they're paying the money. That it's up to them what they do with their time and their money, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I think my first seminars that I went to that you also helped take me to were done by people like Andy Kidd and Bob Davis. I think like Bob's camp was like the second or maybe even the third like proper seminary type thing that I've ever been to, and it was fantastic. And I was only a yellow belt at the time.
Yeah, yeah. So that was being a junior grade. There was nothing out of your depth there, was it? Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're doing karate. So we're talking
Mm,
about because I kind of went off track there, going on the cross training thing. But yeah,
mm,
if you're doing a karate seminar with karate people, any grade is good.
yeah.
And yeah, maybe I shouldn't have introduced you to those reprobates, Bob Davis and Andy Kidd.
Oh, it's
It
too
kind of.
late now, mate. It's
To
too
be
late.
fair, there's only one way it could go after that, wasn't it? It was up.
Yeah. Well, thankfully it went up at least. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's when it comes to karate. I mean, if you're in similar circles and you got people that you know are great instructors, then no, of course, after you've got a bit of time under you, go out and see what other instructors can do. But when it comes to cross training, I mean, like going into a completely different art altogether, I don't think I started like taking cross training seriously or actually started doing cross training in other arts until my second Q brown belt. It was a good
yeah,
while after.
yeah. That judo was the first one, wasn't it?
No, no, judo was the second one. First one was Japanese jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I
Okay.
liked it, and I found there were so many parallels to karate, but I just preferred the way we did things a lot more. It wasn't that there was anything wrong with the club. I mean, the club was massive. They had I say massive, massive enough where it was good environment. They had a very intensive instructors, good varied training. A lot of focus on joint locks, which is fine, but it just didn't feel like it was what I wanted at the time. Because before he kept on telling me, go to judo. Like, yeah, but
Hmm.
I want to try this instead.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
for better or worse, I went and did it. But then I went off to
So
judo after.
yeah. That was all right though. So you learned from that. But yeah, again, that was sort of actively encouraging you to go and explore elsewhere, wasn't it? So go and
Mm,
try different arts. So I mean, going back to the JKA with the issue, about not being allowed to go and train at this other seminar. I think we may have already said it's really lining the pockets of the big guy at the top, isn't it? Really, that's
yeah,
we said
yeah,
earlier. It's all about money and power, isn't it? So
mm,
I suppose
yeah.
we don't have that. My
No,
pockets
no.
definitely ain't being lined. So so yeah, being not, we're sort of non-profit, aren't we? So it's all about investing back in the club and making the
Yeah,
club a better place.
yeah, and the
Um,
people, we are very much a local community club. If you want to come down and train and have a bit of a laugh, then yeah, absolutely, that's what we're there for.
and I wonder if I ran my club as a business, maybe I might think differently about you going to train elsewhere.
Maybe, yeah. I mean,
That's an
absolutely.
interesting thought, actually. Yeah,
Yeah, different paths
because
could take you in different ways.
I wouldn't want you to go anywhere else in case I lost you as a student. I think, oh,
Mm,
if he goes on this seminar, he might really like that, and then I'm X amount of money down each month. So
mm.
maybe that there is a little bit of that. We're not in it for profit, and when it becomes a business, then it can change things.
Yeah,
Quite.
when it is someone's livelihood. I mean, I work as an accountant during the day. I mean, if I have to do, we have to do everything we can to make sure, clients are happy, so they're not going to go somewhere else, so we don't lose that money. So same with this, you don't if you are running a business, you don't want to lose your students, you want to keep that retention, but because we are, that community club, we don't have to worry so much about that, as long as we can, pay for rent and a bit of equipment here and there, I think we're
That's
great.
it. Yeah, yeah. And so thinking back to your taekwondo days, because
Ooh.
that was I'd imagine that was because the guy, that was his business, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't want to name
Or he
too many
certainly,
names, but
no, no, but no, you don't
yeah,
have
I
to. Yeah,
mean,
but he certainly was making a living out of it, or he's making money out of it. So
yeah,
and
yeah, absolutely. He was making a lot of
and
money out of that, I think.
and I'd imagine he wouldn't have liked you to go anywhere else,
No, I mean, to be
or
fair,
it wasn't encouraged.
it what thing was they never officially said, "Oh, you're not allowed to go anywhere," but what they sort of
Hmm.
said is, if you want to learn, he would literally spend like 10 minutes per session saying, if you want to learn boxing, you have to learn karate, if you want to learn MMA, it's kind of useless, but we incorporate the best bits of um those styles here and what we do. They really didn't. They really did not. But it'd be that mental discouragement of like,
Yeah,
preventing
you
people
don't.
to grow because it was lining his
Yeah,
pockets at the end of the day. I mean, let's. I'm gonna, not gonna beat around the bush. It was quite obvious to see that he had a Porsche car fob on his keyring, but
right.
because he was
Yeah,
making a
yeah,
lot of money from his students, but that's his business. But then it it also came down to the way they treated and thought about other people and other arts. It was very very much how to put it, it just was very negative, that didn't help. And even in the art itself, being very negative to the people there, it almost like negging. So giving people enough negativity that they think, oh, I need to stay here because this is the right thing to do.
yeah,
This is where
yeah,
I need to be. It's like that abusive relationship you mentioned earlier.
yeah. So that'd be exactly the same, with the JKA then, isn't it? So that
Yeah.
you don't need to go anywhere else. This is, everything you need is right here with what we do. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely then. So from this little chat, it's definitely down to the money, isn't it? And
Mm,
power over people. So
mm,
they want to be making the money at the top.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So if the guy at the top isn't making money, then he's not going to be happy.
Now
So
they're going to
I
change, they're
can't
going to chop, they're going to do whatever they can to
I
make sure
can't
that money's
think.
rolling in.
Was it the comment you said about what Tommy Joe Moore said? Was it
Yes, yes. So,
I can't remember it.
absolute
Yeah.
legend of Tommy Joe Moore. He put something up like, this is absolute rubbish. You know, he's what he said was, this whole thing is just so they can keep money going into the JKA. So so their businessmen can just go on expensive holidays and go to karaoke bars and bring
That
people there
was
and
it.
get
Yeah,
drunk.
yeah. Which is
That
pretty
is
much, I
it.
think. Yeah, yeah. But I know one of my old instructors, and it's kind of, it must be kind of true because I think that he went to Japan to train over in Japan, and that was one
Mm.
of the things that they went to bars and sang karaoke, and I think when the chief instructor was singing, they all had to get up and dance as well. So it's fucking
Oh
mental.
my God, the
Yeah,
level
yeah,
of
they had to. Yeah,
kissasery.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So it's yeah, cringe
Yeah, I
really.
mean,
But
yeah, I was gonna talk about this for a little bit. So, there's a gentleman named by the name of Scott Langley. I've got a couple of his books here. I've got he wrote Karate Stupid and Karate Clever. In fact, if you look here, Karate Stupid is actually signed by him.
cool.
Yeah, no, I have no idea why.
Nice.
I just ordered this off Amazon one day and it came. But basically, this was him. It wasn't the JKA exactly, but it was something called the JKS, which was like the Japanese karate shukakai or shotokai organization, which is basically like an offshoot of the JKA. So JKA, after like the Funakoshis came and went, it got split multiple times over the decades, became different organizations, and the JKS was one of those organizations, very traditional sort of Japanese Shotokan, and it was just basically about him being there to learn the instructors course that they have for them, which is very intensive, constantly training every day. cleaning up the dojo free of charge. No, you're not getting paid for that kind of thing. Very cult like mentality. And he wanted to do it because he loved karate, which is fine. But then he had to, it was so intense. And, yeah, even sometimes he would want Christmas off. The amount of times he said, "Oh, my granddad's died. I need to go home," just so he can get a few days off,
Hmm.
is ridiculous. It's that pressure and it's that awful mentality that they instill in everyone to just push themselves beyond what they're meant to be doing. That they're there to learn martial arts. They're not there to be a servant.
Hmm. Is that part of the Japanese culture, though? Do you think?
It can
Um,
be. It can be. If you are like a living sort of student, it is very much expected that you live there, you cook, you clean, you do all of this for free, and then at the end of the day, the instructor might have some time with you after he's done whatever
yeah.
he's doing.
Mind you, I read Angry White Pajamas, so that was a similar
Oh
thing
yeah.
on, but Aikido. So I think they, the same thing. They were treated pretty shite in the dojo. Having to clean the toilets and having to do,
Mm,
do all the jobs around the place. And the training was brutally hard, and like you said, they couldn't get any time off.
mm.
Um, so yeah, again, you have to have a serious injury to get any time off, but then you haven't got time to let that injury heal. You've got to be back on the mats within X amount of time. So yeah,
Yeah.
just yeah,
Yeah,
brutally
yeah.
difficult training.
It's not it's very much where that culture clash of like east meets west, in Japan. I mean, I've never been there myself. I know from martial arts books and recounts and retellings and things like that. But I've heard it been described as in Japan, everyone is, imagine like society, it was one big train. Everyone's on the train, they're trying to be polite and be, courteous to the person next to them, where but they're all going in the same direction. They're all conforming to the same ideas. Whereas in the West, we're all on a highway, but we're all on our individual cars and we're beeping and we're honking,
Hmm.
getting angry at the person next to us, but we are going our own way and taking our own exits. So, it is a big culture clash because this is probably where the JKA thing comes in. Imagine if you are very over there in Japan, you are very much adhering to this Japanese culture of okay, you conform, you go to the organization, you do as they say. Then they send that sort of thing, that sort of message over to somewhere like England or America or
Hmm.
France or Germany or wherever, and they're saying you are not allowed to do this, and it's just like, but why?
Yeah, but you say yeah, but why? But I think if you're in the JKA, you will conform. I think, even though we're
Mm,
saying, because from our point of view, looking from the outside in, we're thinking that's mental. Why would any, like we said, why would any grown up paying their hard earned money, doing their hobby, be dictated to by somebody? Whereas, yeah, if you're part of that, I think you would just accept it. I think
mm.
you're going to say, oh, since he says, so I must do.
Yeah,
So,
but that's the thing with like in Scott Langley's book, where he spent so long going along with it and along with it. He kept saying yes, yes, I'll pay the fees, I'll do it things your way, and then eventually just got sick of it. And he was writing a book about his recounting, which was the book Karate Stupid.
so
And
that's the
then when he
first book,
said,
I take it.
yeah, but
That's
he
the first
it,
book,
it
yeah.
was yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's his first book. He wrote it true to his own word, his own point of view. But because he was sort of employed by the JKS, he had to send off that manuscript to the JKS for their
Okay.
approval. And it
And
was
I
just
suppose they
like
didn't.
they didn't like it. They sent back, I think that what he described in his book Karate Clever was they said that okay, we'll highlight the bits that in red, that bits that you need to change. And he said that he received it and it was the entire manuscript just like a sea of red of
Yeah,
he needed to change the entire book, and he wasn't allowed to use like certain words in the same sentence as a certain instructor and things like
right.
that. In the end, he just said, I'm done. I'm done. I went through all of this for you guys, for myself, for karate and the people that I teach and my instructors that have taught me. but I'm done. I'm done. And so he went off
Yeah,
by himself. He got a club called HDKI in Ireland.
yeah. So I've seen a lot of Scott Langley on YouTube or on Facebook. You know, I've followed their pages, and he seems like a really nice, genuine guy. His karate looks really dynamic. So yeah, I'm surprised actually. I've never got around to reading the book. You know, a lot of my friends and
Mm.
yourself included have read the book, and it's been recommended. So I'll have to put it on the list now. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll bring this to you on Thursday.
Yeah.
You're there Thursday, aren't
Yeah.
you?
Well, maybe
So
I'll
yeah.
order. Maybe I'll get a signed copy if I order one.
Ah, yeah. But
Yeah.
another thing that just while we're on Scott, so it was over lockdown, so everyone was doing their podcasts. I mean, we started a bit late to be fair, but everyone was doing their podcasts over lockdown. Rokus from Martial Arts Journey, he actually had Scott Langley on his channel to talk, and I was, being me and a fan of the book, I was just like, I'm going to get a quick question to Scott, just type it through,
Yeah.
bang, went through. And Rokus, I felt quite happy. Rokus read out my message, and it was
Cool.
just, I basically asked, during his time in the instructor's course, Scott had a best friend called Yasuo. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. I might be butchering it, but anyway, he was best friends with this guy. He met his family, they loved him, everything, got on really well. And his dad gave him a piece of a katana hilt. So not the full sword, just the little
Yeah.
hilt that goes right next to the handle. I asked him, have you still got it? And do you ever keep in touch with Yasuo? But he said, yeah, he's still got the piece and he loves it. He's got it on his, I think he's got his mantelpiece or something like that. But he doesn't speak to Yasuo anymore because of that association with the JKS, which his old friend is still very much a part of,
Oh
and
wow.
he's not
Yeah.
allowed any contact with Scott. And it's like
Bloody
this
hell.
was
Yeah.
you guys were best friends for so long. It just feels sad. It just genuinely feels
Yeah.
sad. I feel
Yeah.
I feel really sorry for both of them.
Yeah. But I suppose Yasso, I've not read the book, and I'm probably butchering the name more than you. Is
Mm,
being controlled and told he can't, have nothing to do with Scott. So
mm.
I'm assuming. I mean, I don't know. I'll have to read the book now. So, but yeah, interesting. So, so I think as much as we had to say about it, I think for us that summarising, it's just more about money, isn't it? Money and power.
Mm.
And I say, are we done that one to death now? Do you think? Because
Yeah,
everybody else has done it. Andy Allen's done a video on this, by the way. Once you've
yeah.
finished watching this, because you won't know that Andy Allen's done one. Maybe you've watched it
Mm,
till you've got this
yeah.
far in our video. So you have to have got this far to then go and watch Andy Allen's.
Yeah,
Uh,
Andy's done a very good video because he was part of the JKA at one point. But yeah, no, absolutely, he covers it to a T.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, I think there's not a lot more to say on it other than it was money and power. So
Yeah,
for us, what we're gonna. So that was episode 3, wasn't it?
no,
We made it to 3.
yeah, we made it
Um,
to 3. Yay!
yeah, things we've got coming up soon.
Well, things we got
We
coming up this weekend. I have got Kudo squad training in Kudo Yorkshire, which is up in SGB Bradford, taught by Sensei Mark Spencer. I know his another name he goes by is Spenfu, but I think that's like an online name. But
bit like
yeah,
Ken
no,
Fu.
it's not quite the same person. And then
Yeah,
yeah, got a couple more Kudo things coming up. I got grading next month, and then we've got a grading coming up in our club soon.
yeah. So we've got some, brown belts and downgrades. So that should be good. We've also got a karate for mental health seminar coming up soon as well, haven't we? So
Oh
that's
yes, how could I forget?
early. Yeah, so I got my friend Jan. If you're going to watch this, Jan, big up. So Jan Jackman's coming over in a week and a half, and we're going on our dojo tour. So maybe coming to a dojo near you soon. You never know. I think what we've got planned. So for Jan and I, we're going to see Jamie Club. So we're going to go and train with Jamie. We're going to train at my Jiu-Jitsu club. So Wednesday day with Jamie, Wednesday night with the Aikido Jiu-Jitsu. Thursday morning, some badass training up at the British Combat Association HQ up in Wakefield with Peter Considine. So that is going to be awesome. I've got a grading coming up as well on the Friday. And Saturday, a Nidshiho course or Niseishi with Ian Abernethy, and then Sunday is the one that we're all going to, isn't it? So Sunday, there's a few of us from the club. We're gonna the Karate for Mental Health up in Wakefield, so we're going back up to Wakefield after coming back down to Oxford. And that's got, so you're might have to help me out here, Kieran. So we've got Peter Constantine is the big one that I'm really excited about,
Yep.
because
He's that.
Peter's awesome. Yeah.
Mm.
Tommy J Moore is always a joy to train with, and attend his courses.
So
Somebody,
John Johnson.
John Johnson, yeah. So I've trained with John before. John's a really, really nice guy and a really capable guy. So really looking forward to that. Steve Lowe, who I've not trained with yet. So I've had some conversations with Steve online. So looking forward to training with Steve Lowe. It'll be a first, and I've heard a lot of good things about him. And then there's another guy, Steve Williams, who done some DVDs. This is how long ago it was. I think it was DVDs back in the day with Ian on. They did some, like, wasn't Max Impact, it was like power generation type pad work drills and stuff like that. So Steve Williams. So I've trained with him once before up at the BCKA HQ. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to that. It's going to be an awesome weekend because there's a few of us from the club going. So after our trip to Barry, it was quite a good adventure, wasn't it, to go as a little squad. We had
That's
to
brilliant.
keep Luke away from the burgers.
Yeah, Luke's only allowed McDonald's now. That's the only safe thing that you can have.
And Jack away from the from the firewater.
No, that's me away from the firewater.
Yeah, yeah.
I do not drink anymore. I have learnt my lesson.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something for us to look forward to. And maybe we'll report back on that. We had we thought this episode actually we was going to talk about, I think, was the karate combat, wasn't it?
Yeah, Rafael Agaev in his last fight. Beautiful.
Yeah, but also the new format they've got with the kumite. So kind of it kind of, to me, it just like reeked of blood sport. I just thought, oh, this is going to be really cool, like blood sport back in the day. And I think they're kind of trying to get that feel to it, really, that nostalgic feel. But they've got the knockout stages to get through to the final of your group to get a contract with Karate Combat. So I quite like that. It's like an amateur league thing. So maybe next time, they're on episode 2 now, and I think they're coming out every Friday. So watch this space. I think we'll be talking about that soon, I think.
Awesome. You got a big lineup coming up soon. So yeah, we're definitely going to be busy.
Yeah. So I think for us, that'll do us for tonight. So you can catch, obviously, you can catch this podcast on Kieran's channel, which is.
That'll be Kenji Karate and Martial Arts. And you can also follow me there on Instagram, Kenji_Karate_MA. Over to you, Brian.
Yep. So yeah, all of my socials pretty much. So you got Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, bloody TikTok. It's all Brian Bates Sanchin Karate. So yeah, check it out. Subscribe to this. This channel. We'll be doing these quite frequently. So hopefully you enjoyed it. And I think we're done for today. Yeah.
Yeah, we are done for today. Awesome conversation, mate, as always. Yeah. Until next time.
Us.